Hi everyone, it's me, Katie C. So welcome to Katie C. Oh, why won't it work? Katie C's class. Today we are going to learn some really important things that you're going to use all the time. Maybe you won't use them all the time, but you're going to learn them today, my friends. So today we are going to learn about the area of rectangles and parallelograms. That is an incredibly long word. Parallelograms. So your I can statement is, I can find the area of rectangles and parallelograms and have fun while learning math with me, Katie C. Okay, so we are just going to dive right on in. So here we go. Area is the what? Surface measurement of two-dimensional figures. So I think that's a little confusing. Essentially, it's the inside part of this gray rectangle here. It's the inside, so it's all the gray part, which I guess to me makes sense that it's called the area, but it's the inside. So you could use the word surface measurement, but it's the inside, kids. It's the inside. So when we're solving for the area, we use the same formula. So we're going to use area, so A equals BH. So area equals base times height, okay? So where the B is the length, or the base, the long part, we call that base. And the H is the height, which is this part up here, from here to here, because it's the longer part of our rectangle. So anyway, area is measured in square units. Oh no, pencil. Okay, yes, area is measured in square units. Okay, so if the item that you are finding the area is in inches, it will be inches and then little square. That's supposed to be a 2. I'm not sure how to delete it. So that's a little 2. And then if your area is measured in feet, like example number 2, see how it's in feet? Your end answer is going to be feet squared. Or if it's in meters, it's going to be meters squared, okay? Okay, so we're going to start doing it. So here we are practicing. Here's number 1. So start with your basics. What is your formula? That's what you need to think when you're doing this. Start off with that or you're going to get confused. So area, which stands for A, equals base times height. So what's our base here? Our base is this, which is the long part, bottom. So we can do plug in our values here. So we're solving for A. So area equals, we know what our base is, 8.6 times, what's the height? 3. So you're going to take 8.6 times 3, and I'm going to have to pause and find my calculator. Okay, I found it, so then you can solve that. And the answer to that is 25.8. And then remember what I said earlier about the answers here. So if how to figure out the centimeter part. So they're both in centimeters. So centimeters, and then you're going to do squared. So centimeters squared. There you go. You solved the first one. So now you can confidently do number 2. So here we go. These are fractions, so it might be a little harder, but it's okay. Don't be intimidated. So, because we're going to start off again with our formula. What's our formula? Area equals base times height. And just plug her in. So area, so we're solving for A, kind of like when we solve for X, you know, but we're solving for A. And then what's the base? Here's our base, and here's our height. So just plug it in. It is 2 1/4 times 1 1/2. So then you're just going to solve that math just like normal. And here you go. You're going to get the area equals 3 3/8. And then what's the unit, I think is what they call it, the feet part. So feet squared. There you go. So it looked more intimidating because it had the fractions, but it's okay because you're starting with that formula. And if you remember to always start with your formula and plug it in. What's the base and what's the height? You're going to be just fine. Okay, here we go. Number 3. So sometimes word problems can be intimidating, but do not let all those words intimidate you. You know how to solve this problem because we know what? The formula. What's our formula? Area equals base times height. So we're just going to keep that in mind. So 2 walls of a room are being painted. Each wall measures 16 feet by 8.5 feet. How many square feet will be painted? Good question. So don't freak out because we know our formula. So what is it saying? We're doing the painting. Always suggest reading the question first and then going back and plugging in your answers. So the rooms, each wall measures 16 feet. So each wall, 16 feet, 16, 16. And then by 8.5 feet, 8.5, 8.5. Okay, so let's plug it in. So our base is what? 8.5. Oh, maybe I should do it over here. Okay, so area equals 8.5 times the height, which is 16. So you're just going to solve that math. That's pretty simple math. No big deal. And the answer to that is 272. What am I saying? Feet squared. Because remember, we're doing the feet. There you go. I like to draw boxes around my answer so that way you can see it real good. Okay, great job, everyone. Here we go. We're going to learn something else. Okay, so I want you to think about math. It's kind of like a puzzle. So once you have the formula, you can always write it backwards to solve for, say, a missing piece. So say if you knew the area and you knew the height, but you don't know the base of your room, box, wall, I don't know what we're solving for, the areas. You can figure it out if you know the normal formula. So here we go, writing formulas. Formulas can be manipulated to solve for missing information. For example, area equals base times height can be written as the pencil, base equals area over height. So just with, you know how multiplication is the opposite of division? So when you're solving, like solve for x and you're doing the thing where you like move it to the other side, and if it's multiplying one side and you're going to move it to the other side of the equation, you're going to divide it. It's kind of like that for here. Well, actually, I would say it is exactly like that for here. So you could write the equation base equals area over height, or you could write it as height equals area over the base. It just kind of depends on what numbers you already know and what you're solving for. Okay? So here's our good example here. So the area of this rectangle is 162 meters squared. Okay? And we know the height, which is 18 meters, but we don't know the base. Oh, darn it. But that's okay. Don't you worry, because we're going to figure it out. So we're going to use the formula for area. Yep. Area equals base times height. And we're going to just plug in our values. So what's the area? We know that. 162 meters squared. And what's the base? We don't know, so B. And then we know the height is 8. I like to put a dot. 18. Okay? So we're just going to solve backwards, just like you do when you would solve for a normal equation with the x. So you're going to divide. You're going to take this and put it over here. So you can't see me do that. Oh no, this is hard to do, not in person. You guys should be really thankful for Mr. C doing this online whatnotsits, because this is hard to do. So you're going to divide, send it over here, divide by 18, and then you will get your answer. So then just divide, and like I said, you'll get your answer, which is 9 meters. So area equals 9 meters. So don't let this fool you. This used to really trip me up when I was in school, because here we are. Oh, this is not A. Ooh, my goodness, I'm so sorry. It's B. This used to really trip me up, because this is supposed to be 9 meters. And this is only 18. Like, who drew this rectangle? It should have been the other way around. So don't always get, all worked up in the picture of it all, because it's just, sometimes these math book writers, they're not looking at the pictures, I think. But anywho. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve number 5. A rectangle canvas covers 225 square inches of a wall. So that's the area. If the canvas has a height of 18 inches, what is the base? So there it goes. It tells us what the area is and the height is. So we're just going to plug it in. So go back to your basics. What's your formula? Area equals base times height. And then just plug in what we've learned. We know the area is 225. So then just plug it right in. And then we don't know what the base, so just leave it as a B. And then what's the height? 18 inches. So now you can start solving. So just, send the 18 over there. Okay, yeah, so move that 18 to the other side. You're just solving that one-step equation. Mr. C just called to tell me that is called a one-step equation. See, some things you don't know. I know how to solve a one-step equation, obviously. But I forgot that's what it was called. But anywho, move that 18 to the other side, and you're going to divide 225 by 18 to get your base. And that is, calculator, help. There we are, 12.5, and then it's inches. There you go. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve 6. Okay, so number 6, solve all the formulas below. Circle all the formulas below that could be used to find the height of a rectangle with a base of 11 inches and an area of 120 inches squared. So just go back to your basics. What are our formulas? You can go to your other screen, which is probably on your paper. So we have our basic formula, area equals base times height, and then we have it written a little bit differently, but it's the same formula. So base equals area times height. Oh no, I'm on a race. Ah! Okay, I'm so sorry. That's probably squealing in your ears. Okay, so we have base equals area times height, or height equals area over base. It's all the same thing as area equals base times height. Okay, so go back. Here we go. So your answers are C and D. There you are. Let's go learn the area of parallelograms. Parallelograms. I think they're pronounced parallelograms. Not sure. Gonna have to Google it. So essentially it's the same thing. The dimensions of a parallelogram are also referred to as, what do you know? Base and height. So they're going to use the exact same formula, which we've been saying this whole time. Everyone say with me, area equals a base times height. Where B is the length of the base and H is the height of the parallelogram, which makes a 90-degree angle with the base. Okay, so don't be intimidated because it's a slanty little rectangle, okay? Do not be intimidated. Essentially, it's the same thing we've been doing with the exact same formula, just your long side, the bottom side is the same, but instead of trying to do this, we're going to do, like the outside lines. We're going to use the up and down 90-degree angle with the base. See, this is our 90-degree because you can make a little box. Okay, so let's go ahead and start to solve. What's our formula? Same formula we've been using this whole time, ladies and gentlemen. Area equals base times height. We're just going to plug it in, okay? So here we go. What area equals the base, which is the long part, 12.2 times the height. And remember, we're not using the slanty side. We don't like that. We want the straight side, which is 8. So then just plug and chug. Here we go. Answer is 97.6 centimeters squared. So I used to have to think about this as if you were going to take this triangle and you were just going to move it over here. And then bam, if you look at it like this, it's your regular old rectangle. Does that make sense? So that's how I thought about it when I was learning about areas of parallelograms. So yeah, think of it as a regular old triangle or a rectangle. You're just moving this little triangle over here to make it into a rectangle. Okay, hope that makes sense for you. It makes sense in my head. But anyway, let's go to number 8. So start with your basics, write down your formula. It equals base times height, and then just plug it in. So your base is the long part, which is 6 feet, and then you're going to times it by the height, which is 2 and 1/2 feet. Then multiply and get your answer, which is 15 feet. And remember your little squared. All right, last one. Describe the area of a rectangle and the area of a parallelogram with the same dimensions are related. Okay, let's just think about it. What's it asking us? So essentially, what's the difference? If everything is the same, the area and the dimensions and everything are the same on a rectangle and a parallelogram, then why? So you're going to tell them in fancy words, but think about it in your normal head words first. If this is our rectangle and it's a 4x8, and then we have a parallelogram. Ooh, I don't know how to draw one. How about like this? Yep, parallelogram, and it is an 8 with a height of 4. Why is it the same? Because it's the exact same area. You're going to use the same formula, so you could check. But it's really the same because you're just going to take this triangle and put it over here to make it a rectangle. So how are we going to say that in fancy words that's going to make us sound super smart? So I'll tell you. So they use the same process and formula to find the area with the rectangle versus the parallelogram. You just have to be careful when you're finding the height of the parallelogram that you don't use the slanty side, that you use the vertical. Yep, the vertical long part like this to make sure that you are getting accurate numbers to get the area correctly. So yeah. Well, thanks everyone for having fun math with me today. Just do your best. Math is fun. You got this. Here's a cute picture of my dog Basil. I just love her so much. Bye everyone.